first big series that I ever read. It really helped me get into reading when I was younger, and I still enjoy reading the series today. In the last book, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Harry, Ron, and Hermione leave Hogwarts to go in search of Horcruxes. The previous year, their headmaster at Hogwarts had died, and in his will, he left each of them separate items, and to Hermione, he left a first edition of the book, The Tales of Beedle the Bard. In this book, there was a hand-drawn symbol of a triangle with a circle in the middle of it and a line going through the triangle. This is the symbol here. Hermione had also seen this symbol on the necklace of one of her classmates' fathers. So, eventually, throughout their travels, they decide that they need to figure out what this symbol is. So they decide to go see their classmate's father, Xenophilius Lovegood. When they get there, they sit down and they start discussing the symbol. And he asks them if they have ever heard the story of the tale of the three brothers. Ron and Hermione had heard the story before, but Harry had not. So Hermione pulled out her copy of the book and started reading to them. In the end, they found out that the Deathly Hallows were the three items that Death had given to the three brothers. So here is the tale of the three brothers. There were once three brothers who were traveling along a lonely winding road at twilight. In time, the brothers reached a river too deep to wade through and too dangerous to swim across. However, these brothers were learned in the magical arts, and so they simply waved their wands and made a bridge appear across the treacherous water. They were halfway across it when they found their path blocked by a hooded figure. And Death spoke to them. He was angry that he had been cheated out of 3 new victims. For travelers usually drowned in the river. But Death was coming. He pretended to congratulate the three brothers upon their magic, and said that each had earned a prize for having been so clever to evade him. So the oldest brother, who was a combative man, asked for a wand more powerful than any in existence. A wand that must always win duels for its owner. A wand worthy of a wizard that had cheated Death. So, Death crossed to an elder tree on the banks of the river, fashioned a wand from a branch that was hanging there, and gave it to the oldest brother. Then, the second brother, who was an arrogant man, decided that he wanted to humiliate Death even further, and asked for the power to recall others from Death. So Death picked up a stone from the riverbank and gave it to the second brother, and told him that the stone would have the power to bring back the dead. And then Death asked the third and youngest brother what he would like. The youngest brother was the humblest and also the wisest of the three brothers. He did not trust Death, so he asked for something that would enable him to go forth from that place without being followed by Death. And Death, most unwillingly, handed over his own cloak of invisibility. Then Death stood aside and allowed the three brothers to continue on their way. They did so, talking with wonder of the adventures they had had, and admiring Death's gifts. In due course, the brothers separated, each for his own destination. The first brother traveled on for a week or more, and headed to a distant village. Sought out a fellow wizard with whom he had had a quarrel. Naturally, with the Elder Wand as his weapon, he could not fail to win the duel. Leaving his enemy dead upon the floor, the oldest brother proceeded to an inn where he boasted loudly of the powerful wand he had snatched from Death himself, and how it had made him invincible. That very night, another wizard crept upon the oldest brother as he lay, wine-sodden, upon his bed. The thief took the wand, and for good measure, slit the oldest brother's throat. And so Death took the first brother for his own. Meanwhile, the second brother journeyed to his own home, where he lived alone. Here he took out the stone that had the power to recall the dead, and turned it thrice in his hand. To his amazement and his delight, the figure of the girl he had once hoped to marry before her untimely death appeared at once before him. Yet she was cold and sad, separated from him as by a veil. Though she had returned to the mortal world, she did not truly belong there, and she suffered. Finally, the second brother, driven mad with hopeless longing, killed himself so as to truly join her. And so death took the second brother for his own. But though death searched for the third brother for many years, he was never able to find him. It was only when he attained a great age that the youngest brother finally took off the cloak of invisibility and gave it to his son. And then he greeted death as an old friend and went with him gladly. As equals, they departed this life.
Two pictures of us.